You wake before dawn because the room is already being used by everyone you love. Your entire home is about 4.5 tatami mats. Your work is uncertain, and one missed day can erase the money for supper. You are a low-income tenant in a backstreet Nagaya in early 19th century Edo. This is a careful reconstruction. Poverty, work, rent, and family life changed by neighborhood, occupation, and year, but the pressures you face were real. A faint gray light reaches the paper door. Before anyone can stand, the bedding must be folded and moved into a corner. There is no separate bedroom, no private kitchen, and no closet. The main living space is roughly 4.5 tatami mats. At the entrance, a patch of packed earth holds a small hearth, a water jar, and only the utensils the household can store. Clothes are wrapped in cloth or kept in a wicker box. Every object competes with a human body for space. You dress in patched indigo cotton while your family rearranges the same room from bedroom into kitchen, workshop, and living room. The day begins by making the home disappear into itself. Outside is the shared alley, already awake. Someone draws water. Someone empties ash. A craftsman opens his shutters while a peddler calls from the front street. Nagaya residents may have different trades, but walls are thin and problems travel quickly. A borrowed bucket, a watched child, a warning about sickness, or news of possible work can matter as much as a coin. This closeness is not always comforting. Smoke, noise, gossip, arguments, and disease also pass from door to door. Still, the alley is part of the household economy. What one family cannot own alone may be borrowed, shared, repaired, or learned from a neighbor. You leave early because work is never guaranteed. Perhaps you carry timber, unload goods, clear earth, assist a carpenter, or take whatever physical task is offered. Edo is a vast consumer city, supplied by roads, rivers, ships, workshops, and human backs. That scale creates work, but casual work can vanish with weather, illness, an employer's decision, or simple bad luck. At a hiring place, you wait among other men. A foreman chooses stronger hands first. Today, rain begins. For a household living close to the edge, an unpaid day is not an inconvenience. It changes the evening meal. You keep waiting because going home early makes the failure visible. When work comes, the city takes its price from your body. You lift, balance, pull, and walk for hours. There are no steel-toed boots, no paid sick leave, and little protection from injury. A damaged hand can reduce tomorrow's income as well as today's. When no full job appears, you may accept a smaller errand or help a tradesman for food and a few coins. This episode cannot give one exact wage. Earnings differed by job, skill, season, and decade. The important fact is the uncertainty. Your household cannot plan around a dependable salary. It plans around the possibility that income may stop without warning. Food must be filling, cheap, and quick. Rice is important, but a poor urban meal is not an endless bowl of polished white rice. Grain can be stretched with vegetables, pickles, soup, or other inexpensive foods. A street vendor may bring something hot within reach, while peddlers also sell vegetables, fish, used clothing, and daily necessities into the back alleys. Credit and personal trust can bridge a short gap, but debt moves tomorrow's problem into the future. Nothing useful is discarded casually. A sleeve is patched again. A broken bowl is mended or replaced second-hand. Fuel, cloth, paper, and cooking scraps are measured by how much more life can be taken from them. Back in the alley, survival is not only the man's wage. Other household members sew, prepare goods, mind children, assist a trade, take in piecework, or maintain the relationships that make borrowing possible. Children learn early where not to stand, what can be carried, and which neighbor may help. If illness enters the room, there is nowhere to isolate it. If smoke appears, everyone notices. A public bathhouse offers warmth and washing that the tiny home cannot easily provide, but it also carries conversation. Work, prices, disputes, fires, festivals, and neighborhood news circulate there. Community is not a sentimental extra. It is part of the infrastructure of ordinary life. Night brings the danger built into the house itself. Thin partitions, shingle roofing, paper screens, charcoal, oil lamps, and closely packed buildings can turn one mistake into a neighborhood disaster. Buckets are kept ready. Gates, watchmen, fire lookouts, and shouted warnings belong to the city's nightly rhythm. You eat a modest meal while listening beyond the wall. A neighbor shares news, another asks for a tool. Bedding returns to the floor after the room's daytime work is cleared away. Tomorrow may bring steady labor, a small errand, rain, fever, or fire. You cannot store much wealth here, so security depends partly on knowledge, reputation, and people who will answer when you call. Learning Corner. Start with the room. A typical backstreet Nagaya unit described by the Edo Tokyo Museum was about 2.7 meters wide and 3.6 meters deep, roughly 13.2 square meters in total. The raised living area could be only 4.5 tatami mats. The dirt floor entrance doubled as a kitchen, holding a hearth and water jar. There was no closet, so bedding, clothing, tools, and containers occupied the same limited interior. Several units formed one long wooden building, often divided by thin walls. This design made urban housing dense and affordable to rent, but it reduced privacy and increased the speed at which smoke, noise, illness, and fire could travel. Now look beyond the room. The alley connected private hardship to shared systems. Water reached Edo through large works such as the Tamagawa network, then moved through channels, pipes, wells, and neighborhood access points. Vendors entered backstreet areas with food, used clothes, medicine, and books. Bathhouses supplied heat and washing outside the home. Neighbors exchanged labor, information, tools, and emergency help. None of this made poverty harmless. Mutual aid could fail, credit could deepen debt, and a fire could erase an entire row. But the household was not an isolated box. Its real floor plan extended into the alley, the bathhouse, the well, the street, and the web of people who made an unstable city survivable. One final distinction matters. Poor townspeople were not a single class with one standard life. A struggling artisan, a casual laborer, a servant between positions, a widow doing piecework, and a household hit by illness could experience very different kinds of insecurity. Some Nagaya tenants had specialized skills and stable relationships. Others lived one interruption away from hunger. Seasonal pleasures, shared food, festivals, and humor still belonged to ordinary people, but enjoyment did not cancel hardship. The accurate picture is neither misery without dignity nor a charming life of cheerful simplicity. It is a life of narrow margins, constant adaptation, and human connection under pressure. You end the day almost where it began, in one small room, with tomorrow's income still uncertain. Poverty in Edo was not picturesque. It meant fragile work, cramped housing, illness, debt, and constant fire risk. But it was also lived among other people. Water, tools, warnings, news, and small acts of help moved through the alley. Subscribe to A Day in Old Japan for another human journey through the history behind the famous images.